Shall we start with a quick round of introductions and maybe talk about one thing that we really like about being at TechSparks? So I can go first. Like my friend Mansi said, my name is Ramarko Sengupta. I have been a career journalist for the past 20 odd years, having worked across mediums of TV, print, digital, bit of a jack of all, master of none. And one thing I really like about being at TechSparks is that I get to meet a lot of old friends and also have the opportunity to make new ones.
All right. Hi, I'm Ankit. I'm the co-founder CEO of Fundamento.ai. We are a contact center automation platform, and we work with enterprises across industries. We have two solutions. One is a virtual assistant for CX agents, and the other one is a virtual bot which delivers a near human experience. At TechSparks, I think what I've really enjoyed in the last couple of days is just the interactions that I've been having with people randomly. I've actually stood at just random spots and brainstormed on interesting ideas, people who are trying to build stuff, people who relate with the problems that we are facing, and are also trying to solve similar things. So just the social collisions, I think, have been really enjoyable.
And the energy is so festive, right? That's also something I've
Exactly.
always loved.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Madhurima?
Hi everyone, I'm Madhurima. I lead Microsoft for Startups in India. At Microsoft for Startups, we offer all the support that we can to startups in terms of giving them credits, mentoring, and whatever else they need to succeed. I love coming to TechSparks because of multiple reasons. The energy, the spark, as they call it, meeting all the people. And I also have to say this, I love coming to TechSparks to hear the opening keynote from Shraddha. It's mind-boggling, always.
Wonderful. Shekhar?
Hi, my name is Sekhar. I'm the CEO of Foundit, which used to be called Monster.com not very long ago. We're in the process of building something very interesting in the job board and talent management space. I've been at TechSparks multiple times before. I've spent half of my 20-year career in large organizations like Microsoft, McKinsey, and half of my life in startups. So I experienced TechSparks from both sides. For me, TechSparks always feels like a crash course on startups and technology. In 3 days, you learn so much that you can't otherwise do, and you take back so much energy and positivity.
Wonderful. So we're obviously here to talk about AI and the future of work, something that I think most of us are very interested in, right? And the debate around whether AI will sort of take over our jobs has been going on for a while. And I don't know how young the audience here is, but there was a 90s rock band called Rage Against the Machine. So it kind of makes me think about that. Anybody knows about Rage Against the Machine? I see a couple of hands. 3 hands. Not bad. Okay. And also, if you all have watched these sci-fi movies called Tron and Tron Legacy, where AI sort of, and this is a 1982 film, by the way, where AI takes over human lives and all of that. So nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, obviously. But that said, if you look back 50 years, there are things that then seemed like right out of sci-fi movies or novels, which we actually use today, right? So, I mean, here's hoping we are able to do some justice around this topic. It's a very relevant one today, more than ever before. But anyway, let me not bore you with my obsession with pop culture and sci-fi movies and all of that. Let me just throw some hard numbers here. So, according to a recent report by Goldman Sachs, AI could actually replace a staggering 300 million full-time jobs. I mean, that number itself is mind-boggling, right? So hopefully our panel here is able to make some sense of these numbers that are being thrown at us. And also, so actually my first question, I want to dive right in, is by addressing the so-called elephant in the room, right? The fact that can AI actually take over and to what extent, and what does that mean for a lot of our jobs? And I'm a content person. I see our editor-in-chief, Judge, there's a bunch of others also. And I was telling you all this anecdote And I don't know if I should put this out, but there was this one time when a colleague of mine got questions for me via ChatGPT in a matter of seconds, really, right? So, what is the roadmap like for us? Are we going to be irrelevant soon? And I want you all to not just talk about content, but obviously go beyond.
Sure, I'll start. So since we work with contact centers, I've had so many conversations with enterprises and business leaders where we first actually started going out to the market with a virtual assistant or a co-pilot for CX agents. So it starts with that we'll essentially help agents with automated workflows and real-time assistance that they need while they're dealing with customer queries. And then in the middle of most of these conversations, at some point, it strikes the person that, if you were able to tune the model to a high level of accuracy, you'd be able to actually get the machine to do the job. So, and that's absolutely correct. I mean, of course, there are lots of problems to be solved in terms of latency and accuracy and so on and so forth. But in terms of the possibility, I definitely think that at least for our world of contact centers, I think it's going to happen sooner than later. And also the rapid evolution of AI and the kind of money that's going into solving for some of the problems that exist currently will ensure that it happens faster than we know. I actually said this in one of my LinkedIn posts about TechSparks that in December 2019, I was in Bangalore talking about AI taking over jobs. And I was talking about how by 2030, some figure from some report somewhere that I quoted, but all of that actually and more has happened in less than half the time. So it's definitely.
We have a soothsayer in the room.
No, I mean a terrible one if at all. Because, but yeah, I think it's definitely true for some roles in the market that it's going to happen because the cost argument for automation is just too strong for it to be ignored.
Madhurima, want to do some crystal ball gazing?
Yeah. So, see, I think AI is the ultimate amplifier. What it does, it takes away people from focusing on jobs that are repetitive, that are tedious, and allows them to focus their time on things that are more creative and some things that they more feel passionate about and enjoy. Which means that it's not just an increase in productivity, but an increase in satisfaction that comes. And we all know that, if you have satisfied employees, you're going to see good things happen. Having said that, IT with AI, we've seen it's going to cause a massive shift, right? And as we scratch the surface of AI and more models emerge, what definitely is going to happen is the ways of working are going to change, which means, and it is similar, the changes that we have seen over the years when automotives were invented, right? It changed the whole industry. Similar to that, new things are going to come up. People will need to find new ways of working. So reskilling and upskilling then becomes important.
So I see my colleagues Ryan, Jarshad, Meghna, you're saying we are not going to be completely relevant, but this will complement our skill set and hopefully sort of create a more productive future, right?
You got your questions right.
Not from ChatGPT. Okay, Sekhar, your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're going to see some jobs ceasing to exist. Some jobs whose remit completely change. The way you go about doing those jobs will change. And there will also be a lot of new jobs that get created. So we're going to see all three happen. The net impact of it, where we end, is anyone's guess. But then, since Ankit is here, I do hear when I speak to some CLM, BPO companies, I often hear these days them talking, we have got 20,000 human agents. That just sounds weird, that it started coming into our regular parlance. Now we say human agents, which hints at the presence of some other agents. But what is very clear is that the way we do things, the jobs that will exist, the jobs that will get created, everything is going to change. And the only fundamental truth about this that I believe is people who know AI will replace people who don't know AI in jobs. That's going to happen.
Right. So there's this report I came across. It's a LinkedIn report. It's called The Future of Work, State of Work at AI. this sort of highlights a 43% increase in the integration of AI within the Indian workforce over the past few years. And the surge apparently has led to a 14-fold rise in AI skilled professionals from Jan 2016 to June 2023. Now, these are numbers that we can't ignore, right? These are staggering numbers. Now, help us decode what this sort of means for the future, and how do you sort of see these numbers surging?
So I think right now the adoption to a large extent is task-based. It's not taking over the entire scope of jobs. Having said that, there are of course pockets like the ones that we are kind of dabbling in, which have this possibility of being taken over to a large extent. I think there are some significant challenges before these numbers are able to really transform the landscape completely. When we talk to enterprises, a few challenges that we are hearing about over and over again are around data security, isolation. That's of course been a big one with LLMs in place, and where is my data going and how is it being used is a big question mark. The other one is around accuracy, right? Of course, LLMs are able to do some basic tasks well, but when it comes to specific job-focused predictions, and also like generating content there, how accurate is it going to be is a big question mark. And when you're dealing in industries like healthcare or let's say financial services, accuracy is really, really important. And then there are other issues which could be slightly more say localized, like languages. Multilingual ability of these Gen AI models is a big one. Latency is another one, given the computational resources we have. And the last one, I think, that we are really kind of thinking about, that's evolving really quickly, because we are also Microsoft partners, is pricing, right? Like, I mean, how is pricing evolving in this? Because right now, if it has to be used at scale, there is a chance that it is prohibitively expensive. So there are tons of things to figure out. I mean, of course, that ball has been set rolling, but there are just so many things that need to be figured out for it to be just, be completely transformational for the landscape, for jobs.
Right. Madhurima, your thoughts on how you're sort of envisaging these numbers go up, or do you sort of think it'll go and plateau somewhere?
I think, crystal gazing is very difficult in this case. My fundamental belief is that if people find value for an individual, for the industry, for their business, for the society, then there's no stopping, there's no plateauing that's going to happen. It's every business has a goal. And if the AI supports them in moving towards that goal, they're going to adopt. We've seen a lot of early adoption that's already happened in India. You have the numbers for that. We've seen a lot of global adoption happening. Today, everybody in this room, more or less, is using AI in one form or the other, right? So until and unless there is something that's fundamentally different from what we are seeing today happens, I think there is enough scope to grow. And as I said, if people are satisfied, if their satisfaction level is increasing, they are going to adopt it.
Yeah. In fact, Sekhar, AI is like, we looked at the areas, we do our Tech 30, right, every year. And over the years, we have obviously had some marquee names like Freshworks, Ola's the World, when they weren't what they are today. So out of these tech, like the 30 startups that we sort of identified this year, a number of them happen to be working in the AI space.
I actually think almost every business is working on AI space. Maybe you've surfaced up the companies which are built fundamentally on leveraging AI to a greater extent. But I find it tough to believe that there are many businesses, especially in the tech and digital space, which are not working on AI in some form or shape. I think the general adoption of AI has really gone up in the last year or so, especially since generative AI has come in. Otherwise, it was restricted to techies, restricted to some large businesses. Now we found a way where each one of us, even as individuals, right from kids doing homework to people doing their assignments at work, you can touch and feel AI. So that kind of explains why everybody is curious about what else can AI do, our own levels of interaction, the number of use cases, the cost that Ankit spoke about, what does the cost dynamics do? We all want to do some fancy things using AI, but if the cost is prohibitive, you cannot. So all the large organizations are doing some fantastic work around bringing it down. They're evangelizing use cases by industry. That's kind of taking up the adoption on businesses. At a personal level, what has happened in the last year is unbelievable. Almost everyone can touch, feel, and experience AI themselves, directly, and that sparked a lot of interest, curiosity, to learn, and that's what is reflected. Almost everyone wants to know what can AI do for them individually as well.
So, Sekhar, give us a sense of, like you spoke about larger enterprises and all of that. I mean, that's happening for sure. But when it comes to the SMB sector, and we call it the backbone of the Indian economy, and rightfully so, what sort of penetration have you noticed? And also maybe talk about tier 2, tier 3 and AI.
I think there's a conscious user of AI, and there is a subconscious or unconscious user of AI, right? You could argue that anyone who's using an Excel or a Word or PPT is using AI today as well. So to that extent, I think the businesses will keep putting more AI in the products that we use, and we are consumers of AI as it is. But the access to LLMs now is not as expensive or prohibitive as before. So you could pretty much build small use cases even if you're a small business. There are like a number of small businesses whose use cases can easily be replicable. Even a small time travel and tour operator can use AI. That's a number of things that you could do. And the access to using those LLMs now has changed in the last year.
Right. Madhurima, we were earlier talking about, Gen AI models like ChatGPT, and they have obviously been impressive to say the least. How do you read Gen AI's impact in general, and what would you say is the potential road ahead for such platforms?
I think at the cost of repeating myself, I think given that it is available to everyone, everybody is using it, there's a lot of innovation happening in the way Gen AI is being used, right? I just see a very bright future. A lot of startups that I've met over the 2 days here, they are thinking of using Gen AI in ways which probably I personally would not have thought possible.
So anecdotally, if you could, maybe if something comes to your mind, can you give us some examples?
So, there was a startup which is just extracting video from whatever video clip is there, and then using AI and creating sub videos which become very relevant to a question that is being asked by a user. Right. That is just happening very quickly. It's not like taking you hours or anything. It's just happening in minutes. You don't have to wait. There was a startup where they said, can you just enter any topic that you want? And I said, okay, let's take a topic example. Within 30 seconds, they had created the full course outline with the concepts, with the classes for each of those concepts. And I was like, if I had to do this manually, it would have taken me at least 8 to 10 hours, me being a subject matter expert. And they just did it in flat 30 seconds. Wow. Those are the kind of use cases I'm seeing. So
amazing. Ankit, I want you to talk about the challenges that lie when it comes to mass adoption, ones that you may have personally experienced as well.
Yeah, I think, very similar to what I had highlighted earlier, but, I think there's a lot of noise around Gen AI right now, to be honest. It's obviously picked up really quickly, and there's just so much at play. And in every kind of customer that we talk to, a lot of times they say that, I don't know how I want to use Gen AI. I don't know what the use case is, but you figure it out and tell me how can you infuse AI into my workflows. And I feel like, so the dust needs to settle to be able to really build something that's sustainable and that genuinely adds disproportionate value, which AI is obviously capable of doing. I think from, at least with our kind of clients, what we are really spending time on is giving them visibility on what is really going into training models. We have specialized data sets that we are building for use cases like financial services and travel. And I think just accurate models which are able to really improve the output that you're getting out of LLMs. LLMs tend to be a black box. You don't know where the answers are coming from, and what can you really do to improve those answers. So I think it's really important to be able to give users visibility, and that's something that we do at Fundamento. And the other thing, of course, is especially for enterprises, because they are the large employers who can really kind of make sure that the adoption of AI trickles down from only just task-based or managerial levels to the mass levels. I think for that, what we are doing is we partnered with IBM for on-prem deployments, and we make sure that latency and multi-language capability is built into the system to be able to make sure that more and more users across the organization are able to use it. And and of course, the third thing is that, again, like I said earlier, which is pricing. I think at the end of the day, it's all fun and games. That's all right. But if you really want to make it usable and something that has stickiness, it's really important that the pricing works at scale. And that's something that is still to be explored.
Right. Sekhar, a few months back, you and your colleagues had some fun on the internet with goodbye monster, change is good, and all of that. And we were chatting before the panel, obviously. And you did sort of give me a teaser, but now reveal to the audience, what sort of a role did AI actually play in the whole rebranding effort? Because for me, I've known Monster for a long time, and I couldn't help but imagine, why would you all want to sort of take that step, right?
I'm glad you noticed, because that was the whole purpose of that exercise. So, yeah. So, I wouldn't say the name change itself was something driven by AI, but our whole journey on, once we acquired Monster for this region, India, Southeast Asia, and Middle East, and we started thinking about what's the future of work going to look like, future of jobs are going to look like, and therefore a platform that should help people find jobs should look like. There was a lot of thinking around, and how AI can help us disrupt this business. And that's where the whole journey of, transformation from a job board to a talent platform started. And when we did that, we obviously felt like we needed a name that resonates with that journey. Essentially job boards have been around for 30 years, and they're pretty simple businesses, pretty simple database businesses. You store database, you retrieve it based on a query and give it back to recruiters. So when we started this journey, the whole journey was around moving from a database business to a data business. So data, large data, we deal with 75 million candidate profiles. We work with 8,000 organizations. We have at any point in time, 500,000 job postings. So we deal with large data. So we said, okay, we're going to move from being a database company to a data company, and that is the starting point of leveraging AI to do it. And we've always been platforms of discovery. We tell people where the jobs are, we tell the companies where the candidates are. So we were a platform of discovery. We wanted to move to platform of outcomes, which means for every user on the platform, we wanted to enable them to get to the end point. So when you started talking about a user, you have to do what we call as mass personalization. It's no longer enough to tell you there are so many jobs. What is that particular job that is suited to you? Or who's that particular candidate that's suited to your organization? So a lot of what we do, from platform of discovery to outcomes, mass personalization, all of it is built on the foundation of large data and AI. So for us, this whole journey and part of it is rebranding, is all driven by what we think we can do, leveraging the power of AI.
Smart. How many in the audience are startup founders or wannabe startup founders? Quite a few of you. So, Madhurima, I think it's a good time to talk about your Founders Hub program and how perhaps some of these folks can be a part of it and what you all do. And again, it's kind of tied to AI also somewhere. So if you could take us
Sure,
through.
yeah. So the Founders Hub program is a global platform which gives startups, anyone, idea stage till Series C, access to a whole host of benefits from Microsoft, which includes getting access to cloud credits, up to $150,000 of cloud credits, which can also be used for Azure OpenAI. So if you're looking at using AI, you can use those credits as well. It gives access to a lot of free licenses for Microsoft productivity tools and all. And apart from that, I think, what startups have told me they found very useful is access to mentors. So they get access to experts at Microsoft who will help them in their, shaping their product and building a world-class product, really. And it's, as I said, from idea stage till Series C. So depending on where you're on your journey, you can get credits. Have that journey, over a course of 2 years to 4 years, depending on where you join in the program.
Wonderful. But I want to end with one question, and I want to quickly get your thoughts on how, as AI continues to advance, how do you sort of see it playing a role in employee enablement and training, and what are some of the things that we could do across sectors, whether it's large businesses, small businesses, and all of that?
Sure. I think there's just so many use cases for enablement and training that have emerged over the last year or so. Yeah. So very quickly, I think one is what Madhurima, I think, spoke about, which is just content curation, development. I think that's definitely something that I think we are exploring heavily. The other thing is that from a cost standpoint, training has always had a massive time trade-off with time that you have to spend on the floor and really doing the job versus going into the training room and making sure that you're getting all the hands-on help that you need. So AI is actually being able to, so co-pilots, real-time assistants, virtual assistants, I think those are things that, are actively coming up in a big way. And also, I feel like this is across the board. It's not just for sales and CX roles. I think there are coding co-pilots now that are being released. There are specialized data sets that are being developed for special languages. There are specialized data sets that are being developed for financial services. We are doing that. We are doing that for travel as well. And I think very quickly, an anecdote is, there was this one hackathon that we were having with our engineering team internally, and they completed the hackathon, and there was a very senior tech advisor who was in office who was supposed to be the judge of the hackathon, and when they actually ran the code, it failed, and very quickly the engineer actually, with the screen share on, went on to a chat GPT, quickly sort of copy pasted it, asked for the error, got the code corrected, copy pasted it back, and it ran. And everyone was very happy. And as soon as I walked out with the tech advisor, he was just like, this is exactly what is scary. That we are so subconsciously, we are getting so used to using these LLMs, these models, and how they're helping us do our jobs. Which is why, coming to the topic, the future of work, I think, is going to be impacted very significantly with Gen AI and the kind of tools that are emerging today. Yeah.
30 seconds each. Quickly, let's wrap up.
I think the opportunities are limitless. We've seen manufacturing, the Siemens Teams app with AI. We've seen MMT using it. What really people need to do is just embrace change. Change your mindset and have what is called growth mindset. And then any industry, everywhere you can enable your employees using this.
Yep, I think so too. I think we need to start embracing AI. Each one of us should know that it's going to be a significant part of our lives, and the quality of what we are able to do, the agility, the efficiency, everything is going to grow multifold if we know how we can really put AI to use for us. Mass personalization, adaptiveness, agility. There's just so much goodness that can come if you are able to embrace AI and make it work for us. It will work for us if you make it work for us. That's the secret.
But hopefully the sort of human touch will always have its value. And if you can assure me of that, I'll feel slightly less insecure. No?
Yeah.
Humans
awesome.
are here to stay.
We
Awesome.
won't mind
Thank you.
answering
Thank
the
you
same
so much.
questions to a chatbot as well.
Awesome. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.